Today's video is all about my top 10 most anticipated VR games coming in 2025. Starting this list we have Gunman Contracts, and this is easily one of my most hotly anticipated PCVR releases. This is a fully standalone version of the mods that some of you may have played in Half-Life Alyx called Gunman Contracts Chapters 1 and 2, but this is now being taken to the next level by being built from the ground up for PCVR and flat screen with other platforms coming in the near future. You play a professional hitman simply known as the Gunman. You have a large arsenal of weapons at your disposal, featuring pistols, rifles, shotguns, knives, and even a tech bow to take down ruthless criminals in some of the most aggressive and immersive ways possible yet seen in VR. If the mods are anything to go by, you can expect every kill to feel extremely satisfying with some great death animations and real bullet impact physics. At number 2 we have Wanderer Fragments of Fate, which has been delayed so many times now, but finally it's coming to MetaQuest and PSVR 2 on March 27th, with PCVR coming shortly after. This is one of the best VR games I ever played back in 2022, and is easily up there as one of the most unique VR experiences I've ever had. It's got a great mix of action, puzzles and time traveling, making it pretty unique, and features various time periods that are all pretty interesting, and they're all fantastic to explore because they're just so beautifully made, and solving these time travel puzzles just make you feel super smart. The new version is called Fragments of Fate and promises even better graphics, new gameplay features, lots more action, and I can't wait to experience it all over again later this month. Ace of Thunder has been on my top 10 for at least a year now, and that's especially true after playing War Thunder in VR. Ace of Thunder will have a single player campaign and multiplayer. Hopefully we'll get cross-platform support too, which will bring even more players to fill the skies and make the online battles even more competitive and compelling. Ace of Thunder will launch with 50 maps from 3 key theatres from the Second World War based on the Western and Eastern Pacific fronts, and will have 20 faithfully recreated aircraft. The more I see of this game, the more fantastic it looks, and I can't wait to play it. Unfortunately though, we still have no release date for PSVR 2 and PCVR, but they are posting more and more on socials, so hopefully we will hear something soon. At number 4 we have Forefront, and it's aiming to bring us a true VR battlefield experience by dropping you into a near future warfare playground with 32 players across expansive battlefields. Players can now use multiple land, air and sea vehicles and fight on large scale maps with dynamic game changing destruction. There's a ton of new weapons, vehicles, gadgets and player classes, and Triangle Factory is aiming to raise the bar for immersive gunplay and tactical depth in VR. The game is set in the year 2035, and a company called Orpiment Renewable Energy, aka ORE, have discovered a new way to generate infinite clean energy using a rare mineral called red orpiment. As ORE expands its global mining operations, it forms its own military force to protect its interests. Players must engage in battles between ORE's mercenaries and local government forces fighting for control of this valuable resource. With Hyperdash and Breaches already behind them as a team, this is looking to be a high quality VR experience, and it's coming to MetaQuest 2, MetaQuest 3, Pico and Steam by the end of 2025. In number 5 we have a game that I don't see anyone talk about, and it's called Mighty 8 VR, and it puts you in the cockpit of a B-17 flying fortress at the height of a strategic bombing campaign over Europe. And the most exciting part of this game is it's got online co-op for up to 9 players, and if you can't get that many players with you, you'll have AI to assist you. There's no release date right now, but this looks absolutely awesome. At number 6 we have RoboQuest. It's a new VR port coming for Flat 2 VR Studios that was recently announced during the new VR game showcase, and it's a fast-paced FPS roguelike that's playable in single player or with 2-player co-op. You must shoot and run your way through randomly generated environments, pick up upgrades along the way and blast away at powerful big bosses. You must upgrade your base camp and unlock persistent upgrades to customize your playstyle and dive further on each subsequent run. The cel-shaded graphics look absolutely awesome in VR, and since this was the only trailer to actually show VR gameplay out of all of Flat 2 VR Studios offerings, I feel we haven't got long to wait for a release date. At number 7 we have Beyond Sandbox, which has been growing in popularity due to showing some pretty interesting and advanced VR physical interactions, and it has some beautiful graphics. It's coming to PCVR and MetaQuest, and it's powered by Unreal Engine 5. It offers a playground for both players and creators to redefine virtual reality experiences. I think you'd agree by watching some of these trailers in action, it has some incredible incredible interactions, and realistic looking weapons, and potentially very satisfying melee combat. The procedural grip system does look pretty mind-blowing, and it will also feature multiplayer where you can either compete or collaborate using the in-game map and customization tools. Now I'm already in contact with the developers, and I seriously can't wait to get my hands on this one. At number 8 we have Memoreum, and this is coming from Patient 8 Games, and it's coming to MetaQuest, with PCVR and PSVR 2 coming at a later date. I recently went hands-on with it and featured it in an early access video, and it played extremely well and delivered that Dead Space horror gameplay most of us really want in VR. Memoreum has been built from the ground up by the same team behind the Half-Life Alyx's Return to Rapture mod. The world of Memoreum begins at the end on a dying Earth. Humanity sends its colony spaceship called the UCT Century Dawn on a mission to find a new home. You fast forward 199 years and you are suddenly awoken from hypersleep to discover something has gone terribly wrong. An infection known as ichor has spread throughout the ship. As you can see from some of this gameplay, causes some Dead Space-like creatures to emerge. You can expect a 10-hour long campaign with multiple endings, and as I said from what I played, I have no doubt this game will actually deliver. At number 9 we have Hard Bullet. Now I'm not always a fan of sandbox games, as personally I like to have a narrative driven experience, but Hard Bullet is the exception because it's very imaginative and very violent. If you've never heard of it before, Hard Bullet is a physics action game where enemies flood the neon lit city streets, and you can use slow-mo abilities and a huge arsenal of beautifully rendered weapons and brutal combat to take these guys down, and you must survive waves of these enemies to unlock new weapons. Now one of my fondest memories of this game was creating a giant NPC, and then I chained together 20 or so SMGs and turned the ammo into katanas, and it was absolutely insane to see in VR. Either way, it's coming to Quest very soon, and I can't wait to see it in action. At number 10, to wrap up the video, we have Ghost Town. You play a paranormal investigator called Edith Penrose, who is a witch turned ghost hunter, and you must use a combination of wit and ancient magic to overcome some unearthly puzzles. Just knowing it's coming from Fireproof Games fills me with the confidence this is going to be an epic VR puzzler. As a huge fan of VR puzzle games, and especially escape room games in VR, this is looking to be an incredible puzzle escape room experience, and it's coming to MetaQuest on April the 24th, with PCVR and PSVR 2 versions coming later in the year. So that's all I've got for you today. Thank you for any likes and anyone who subscribes to the channel for VR content, and I'll see you on the next one.